Okay, we're going to set up a Fastly CDN service for a website in just a few short minutes. I'm going to show you how to use a glitch website in case you don't have a site you want to try it with yet, but you can use your own site if you prefer. So we're using the Learn Website Delivery project on Glitch. That's learn-website-delivery.glitch.me. As soon as you have that open, you can go ahead and remix it. And the remix is going to open in the Glitch editor. If you want to keep this project, just make sure you sign into Glitch. And the project has all of the instructions that we're going to go through, so you can refer back to it later. We're going to open the preview pane. We can edit our website here in the browser, and the site is going to update live where it's immediately available at a glitch.me address that will be unique to your project. Now, I'm in the UK, and this glitch website is hosted in the US, so it's pretty far away from me. So we're going to see if we can get a performance boost by delivering it through Fastly. So let's jump into Fastly. Make sure you've signed up for a free developer account if you haven't already. You can do that at fastly.com. Once you're signed in, you're going to land on the Fastly control panel. If you already have services, you'll see them listed here. If not, it will be more of a blank state. So we're going to jump right in and create a service. We're going to choose CDN. And now we can set up our new service. You can choose any name you like. This is purely to identify the service in your account. Now for the domain, if you have a domain that you want to use with your site through Fastly, you can enter that. We are not going to go through the TLS or DNS steps required to point your domain at Fastly in this video, but you'll find instructions on doing that in the documentation site. For now, I'm just going to use a test domain. And we're going to find an example of that under the text field, and it ends fastly.net. So you can go ahead and copy and paste the whole thing in, but we're going to have to change the first part so that it's unique. So you change it to something that suits your project. It will be something.global.ssl.fastly.net. Okay, for the origin, this is going to be wherever your content is hosted. So in my case, it's my glitch website. I'm going to jump back into Glitch and grab the address from the preview. I'm going to paste it in, but I have to remove the trailing slash and the https:// from the start. If you're using a platform like AWS, this would be the subdomain for maybe an S3 bucket. So it's going to depend on where your content's hosted. We can leave the default settings in place and activate the service. And now we find ourselves in the new service. There are tons of settings you can try out, but I'm going to go ahead straight away and click the test domain link. It might not load immediately, it might take a minute to deploy. So if you get an error, just give it a minute and reload. And there we go, it's up. How easy was that? But let's do a performance check on it. You can use your own origin site. I'm going to pop back into Glitch. I'm going to open the preview in a new window this time, just so that I can compare my glitch.me origin site with my fastly.net deployed site. And you'll notice that we've got a little indicator in the page of the glitch site for page load times. But we're also going to take a look at the browser developer tools. And these will vary depending on your browser, but there are usually quite a few different options that you can use to measure website performance. I'm just going to use the network tab just now. So if we reload the page, we get the load time at the bottom. So if I jump back into the Fastly tab, you might be noticing that it was actually quite slow to load for the first time. That's because it wasn't in the Fastly cache yet. Hopefully when I reload it, it's going to be nice and quick. So let's do the same test. We'll open up the browser developer tools, we'll go into the network tab, and we'll reload the site. And there we go, there was quite an improvement in the load time. And this is a teeny tiny website. So you can imagine if this was a big website with lots of media assets and traffic, that difference would actually be having an impact on the user experience. While we're in the network tab, we can find out a bit about what's happening in the network. If we scroll to the top of the list of requests and we pick the one for the main website address, we take a scroll through the headers, we scroll down until we get to the ones that have X in them. These are the ones that are relevant to what Fastly is doing. You see that I'm getting a hit here. because my response came from the Fastly cache, so it was a cache hit. If it wasn't in the cache, I'd be getting miss here, and that would mean that Fastly had to request the content from my origin. In my case, that would have been the glitch website host. And under that, we'll find the served by header, and that tells us the Fastly POP that delivered the response. POPs are points of presence. These are the places around the world where the Fastly network is positioned. So I'm getting the Manchester POP because I'm in the north of the UK. You'll be getting something different depending on where you're browsing from. And that's why it was so much faster, because it's coming from a server that's near me instead of coming from my origin, which is halfway around the world. That's how a CDN makes your site fast. While we're still in the network tab, let's take a look at another request. So the little image that's in the glitch website, which I uploaded earlier, it's a PNG image. We can find it in the list of requests. And when we look at its headers and scroll down to those Fastly ones, we see that we've actually got 2 entries. And that's because when you upload an image into a glitch project, it's automatically delivered through a Fastly service that's managed by Glitch. And that service is using shielding. So when we enable shielding on a service, we're telling Fastly that all requests to our origin should go through a specific POP. And we choose that POP based on it being close to where the site is hosted. In this case, it's Ashburn because the glitch hosting is using AWS in that region. And shielding increases the cache hit ratio. That's the proportion of requests that are returned from cache, which makes the site more performant. Okay, this is nice, but what happens when I change my site and I don't want it being returned from cache anymore? I want my users to get the updated version. But let's try it. I'm going to jump back into Glitch. I'm going to change my site style in the CSS. I'm going to make a colour change. I'm going to check the glitch.me version and it's updated straight away. Now I'm going to try reloading my Fastly version, and I'm doing a hard reload in case my browser is also caching the assets. So that's Command-Shift-R or Control-Shift-R, and I'm still getting the old version. So what I'm going to do is purge the cache. I'm going to go back into my Fastly service. When I scroll up to the top and open the service summary, I get this purge drop down. So I'm going to choose purge all. I have to enter the name of my service and then confirm that. And this is a little bit of friction to make sure that I definitely want to purge. So you can imagine if my site was a big popular website with a lot of assets and visitors, when I purge everything from the cache, that means that for every asset, the next time someone requests it, Fastly is going to have to fetch it from the origin again because none of it is in the cache anymore. So that's a lot of additional traffic for a big site. And that's why we have the more granular options of purging by URL or by key. So when someone visits my site again through Fastly, it will fetch the fresh content from the origin, and anything that's cacheable, it will store it in the cache again for subsequent visitors. Okay, let's reload our Fastly deployed version of the site to see if we get the updated style, and we do, nice. And notice that it was slower again because it wasn't in the Fastly cache anymore, but now it is. So you can see why we check that you definitely want to purge, because that's going to affect the user experience immediately afterwards. Before we finish, let's use Fastly to give our website visitors a more reliable experience as well. What we're going to do is get Fastly to handle some of the errors that might come from the origin website. So we're going to pop back into the Fastly service, and to make a change to our service configuration, we clone it, we make a copy of it. In our new service version, we scroll down to content, and then we find the responses section. And we're going to switch on the 404 response. And you'll find some boilerplate HTML in there. You can just leave it as it is. I'm going to grab some slightly fancier HTML for my glitch project. It's in my README. And it's just going to make the response look a little bit more like the rest of my site. So I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it into my Fastly service. I'm going to save it and Fastly will validate it. And then I can activate the new version of the service. Now what I've asked Fastly to do is to deliver a synthetic response with that HTML in it if my origin returns a 404 error. So a 404 happens if someone tries to visit a page that can't be found. Maybe it's a typo in a link, that kind of thing. My glitch site is actually unlikely to return a 404 because it has some error handling built into it, but I can trick it into returning one. I'll show you how to do that in case you're using the glitch site too. So back in my glitch.me tab, I'm going to add a path at the end of the address that has a dot in it, that has a period character in it. So I'm going to put o.no. And there I've got this generic 404 page. I don't want my users getting that error. So if we go back into our fastly.net site, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to put o.no, but you can choose any path that you know doesn't exist on your origin website. And there we get the synthetic response from Fastly. It's a better experience, it looks nicer, it helps the user get back on track. There are tons more settings you can try in your Fastly service, so play around with them, see what happens. If you're using the Glitch project, there are some links at the end for you to check out. If you want to point your own domain at your site, you can do that with free Fastly TLS. What you'll do is create a TLS certificate for your domain. You'll add the domain to your service and you'll update your DNS settings to point at Fastly. We have tutorials on that and much more in our documentation site. I hope that was helpful and thank you for watching.